All right, we keep moving right along, and in Module 6, we'll be exploring the theoretical or conceptual framework that you might be using for your study. I'm going to introduce you to IRB. Just very briefly, we'll do a little bit more of that later on in the course, but I wanted to give you a heads up on this assignment. So if I click into Module 6, you'll see the first week is gives you a chance to explore theoretical and conceptual frameworks. Here's a short reading from the My Sites page, and I have 2 linked sources for you to read in the Sage Research Methods website. And you can also use that site to explore the frameworks that might be specific to your study. And I think many of you may have Burke and Jimenez Sofa's book, Elements of Inquiry. If you do have that book, you can read from page 93 to, I think it's like 96 or something like that. And if you don't have this book, it is available through the library. And I just wanted to take a moment to show you a little bit, if you haven't had a chance to explore the Sage Research Methods site. If you look at research tools in Sage Research Methods, you'll see a methods map, reading list, project planners, and which stats test. You're going to be using some of these, so I just wanted to point those out. If you haven't already noticed these 4 different categories here under research tools, they can be incredibly helpful for you. All right, so there are those 4 different resources for you when it comes to theoretical or conceptual frameworks. So you have 2 jobs this week. One is to figure out what a theoretical or conceptual framework is. And just briefly, I can tell you that it is the grounding of your study. It tells why things work as they do. So as you're thinking about your study, you'll want to consider why those relationships, for example, are connected, or how things work and why they work. So the theoretical or conceptual framework should help explain that and give a foundation to your study. They're generally very individual to a particular study. Some common ones that we see relatively often are theoretical frameworks related to self-efficacy, for example, related to a leadership theory, perhaps related to something like retention or persistence. And conceptual models oftentimes for K-12 students come from DPI. So what you'll be doing right now is 2 jobs, right? You're going to find out, well, what is this theoretical or conceptual framework thing? What is it? And then which one might I use? So that's really the goal of this, this module. In week 2, you will be submitting a draft of your theoretical or conceptual framework if you know what it is. If you don't know what it is yet, that's okay. What you can do is list a description of like maybe 3 potential frameworks that you might use. And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes it takes a while to find those frameworks because they're not as apparent or not as obvious as some of the research that you're reading. So it takes a while to dig through and find something that's going to work for you. When you find it, you'll know, because it'll be like, oh my goodness, this totally fits my study. This is exactly what I needed to. That's the glue for all of the pieces. So I do want you to submit a draft as far as you've gotten with your theoretical or conceptual framework. And then what you might do is begin your city training. That is the training, the ethical treatment of human subjects and animal subjects as well, that you will need to do to complete your IRB. And so we'd like you all to go through that training and print a certificate, save a certificate for yourself. That will be due in Module 8. And then here's your place to submit your assignment.